welcome to Google in Education. I'm actually an educator. I don't work for Google. I don't belong to Google in any way. I'm an educator, and I'm really passionate about Google tools because they are completely free, right? So I can use all these tools to really personalize the learning for my students. So in today's short talk that I'm going to give you, I'm going to kind of explain the sort of 10 ways that you can use YouTube in education. My name is Carrie. I'm an award-winning educator because I created a YouTube channel in which I deliver content to students, and it won an award last year. And I'm also a Google certified teacher. So if you don't know much about Google in education, you may not be aware that there is a really strong teacher program where you can become a Google certified teacher and be trained in a lot of free tools that Google have to offer. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, or if you want any more information about the videos I'm going to show you in this talk, then please just connect with me, and I'm happy to share everything I do. So the most common way that people use YouTube, and the first way that you can use it, is as a hook, right? And a lot of teachers do this. You might use it at the beginning of a lesson just to get kids engaged in what you're talking about. It's a very instant way to get their attention. And this is a sort of prime example of that.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here, and today we are going to talk about
this is a guy called Vsauce, and he talks in this video about farts, and how much right? So this is the kind of content that is available on YouTube that is educational, that will hook your students immediately when you're in the beginning of a lesson. So whether you're an English teacher, a science teacher, an IT teacher, there is really good video content that you can use that is educational. So that's kind of the first way and most obvious way that people use YouTube in education. Let's just see if I could.
That's right, you swallow a lot of air when swallowing spit or food or beverage. Now some of this will come back up as a burp, but if it doesn't,
so that's Vsauce. He's a very popular YouTuber. Another way that we can use YouTube, and again a little bit obvious, is to just engage our students. So maybe it's not the start of the lesson to hook their interest. Maybe it's just to get their engagement in a particular concept or criteria that's not really that popular. TED, for example, do some really great educational content that is on YouTube. And this is really a video about the human body and how the human body works, but it's been delivered in such a creative and different way that's really going to engage learners. And this one is all about zombies.
So, how did it get to be this way?
Well, it's my professional opinion that the large gaping bite mark on its shoulder might have something to do with it.
Thanks. I mean, what causes its behavioral abnormalities?
Well, we know all behaviors are rooted in the brain, so I'd expect that something's gone terribly wrong, probably in there.
Thanks again, Dr. Obvious. Let me be more specific. What changes in the brain would have to occur in order to cause this kind of behavior?
It's really good because it asks questions of students. It already engaged them in the content. TED have worked with educators and animators to create this kind of content, which makes really, really great use of YouTube in your classroom. So those two are the most obvious ways. Another way that a lot of teachers don't really think about is capture. Being able to capture what you do as a teacher. You are, priceless as a commodity, as an educator. And when students come to my lesson, they get 50 minutes of me per week at Key Stage 3, for example, and that's it. And then they go off and they probably forget everything they've learned in that lesson. So what you're able to do with YouTube, and a lot of educators are doing, is they're capturing what they do in the classroom. And this works particularly well if you're doing a lot of board work, for example. A lot of maths teachers are doing this. Perhaps in a lesson they work through some really complicated algebra. They film the whole process. They put that video onto YouTube. And then all of their students got access to that over again. They can go back and they can revisit it. Anything they've forgotten in the lesson, well, they can go back and check and figure it out. So here's a prime example of a teacher in the States. You can see this is his board work. And throughout this video, you'll see him just adding stuff to the board, students are asking questions, and all he's done is just filmed what he does every day in the classroom.
Okay, cool. So you
And then
see
put it
that
on YouTube so his
JE
students
is
can access
bisected.
it.
The segment JE is bisected. Here it is. And if it's bisected,
Oh, so then it's DG.
you're right. No, you're right. You're right. JE is bisected, correct?
Right.
So which one's cut in half?
JE.
JE.
Yeah, it's not computer science, it's not, rocket science, it's not complicated. It's just saying, I am a worthwhile commodity and I want my students to be able to have access to me all the time. I'm a computing teacher, so a lot of the time I'm showing on the board how to do things like click here and then do this and so on. And sometimes you can lose a lot of students in that process. So I just screencast all of those steps and put them in a video so students can work at their own pace. Another way you can use YouTube is to keep a record. So I don't mean like record as in capture, I mean like keep a record of what you do. So that last example where the teacher was recording what he was doing in the classroom, you can actually go to his YouTube channel and see what he's done over the past few weeks or the past year. So then what you have is a record of your instruction that you can keep. So you come back to, perhaps you're going to teach the same thing the following year. Oh, hey, look, all my videos are all there. I can see what I did. Maybe I want to change some of it up, make it a little bit better, or I can direct students to it. I do some work with the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and this is just a record of some of the posters that were submitted for a competition, but this is just to give you an idea. Some people do really great work that's around their classroom. You can film that, put it up, or you can just keep a record of what's actually happening in your classroom. Obviously, we put the gallery music on here because we had to. It's like law. But YouTube is a really great place to keep a record of what you're doing or what students are doing. Another way that you can use YouTube, and this is where it becomes really exciting for me because I really believe in personalizing my learning for students, is that you are able to use YouTube to extend students' knowledge. So I generally teach with a blended learning model where I curate content for my students. So if I've got students who are perhaps working ahead of the rest of the class, I can direct them to my YouTube channel or to a playlist where I've curated different videos for them to watch, perhaps set up a Google form with some questions in it, or just perhaps on my website I might have some suggested targets they need to meet. So students are able to extend themselves. So this is my website that I created for my students for my blended learning model. So my students can use it just by clicking on whatever year group they're in, and then their lessons are actually all in a blog. I use Blogger to do this. And so my students who may have been working through the hour of code just before Christmas, there are videos to get them started. But then if some students are working ahead of the other students, they know they can just click on the next video, see what they need to do next. And then if they're working a little bit further ahead, go to the next video, and then the next video, and so on. So I'm able to extend those students who want to work a little bit faster. Okay, so the next one, if we can extend our learners, then also we can support learners. And I myself am dyslexic, and this is why I pay a lot of attention to teaching and learning. How can I support the young people in my classroom who may fall behind or who may struggle? We know that not all learners learn by rote. We know not all learners do well with a kind of Victorian system of education with someone standing at the front lecturing. So I can use YouTube to support my students, and this is done by a lot of other teachers as well. Perhaps you're reading a large piece of text, or you're asking students to open their textbook and read quite a long passage, or maybe in literacy, you might be learning a particular novel. Then you can use YouTube to actually read aloud is one way that you can support learners in your classroom.
The influence of neighboring cultures.
So this is my friend in the States. His name is James T. Sanders. He teaches history.
Introduction.
And in this video, he's just reading from the textbook. So he's supporting learners in his classroom by reading aloud for them so that they are able to access the written text. It's also good for students who perhaps their first language isn't English. We need to support those students as well. And once you've got a record of this stuff on your YouTube channel, You can
Some of these
help
ideas have
engage your
originally come
students.
from
You can
Japan to
support their
India.
learning, and
For
you can
example,
also extend them.
Japan learned about Confucianism from a
So- Okay, next one. You can flip your classroom. This is when we're getting a little bit more like 21st century. People are very keen on flipping your classroom. I said I use a blended learning model. I don't use the flipped learning model in my classroom, but you are able to flip your content. So instead of standing at the front and spending a good, 20 minutes of your lesson delivering concepts, all those concepts could be learned at home, and you could use that lesson time to work on things, actually complete tasks. And I showed you a TED Ed video earlier on. TED have created a site where they have teamed up animators and educators to create content. And through this website, you are actually able to flip lessons directly. So if you don't have your own website, well, hey, you can do it through TED Ed. And they work really well with YouTube. And there is YouTube in education channels, and TED Ed channel is a really good one. So you can flip your content. I sometimes ask students to watch videos at home to prepare for the next lesson, or a playlist of videos. Sometimes what you need to do if you're going to do that is have some kind of task where you record whether or not they do it, because it takes them a while to kind of get into that flipped learning model. It works better with older students, I found, than younger ones. And the only reason I don't really use this model in my school is that I work in East London. I can't guarantee that all my students have the same access to internet at home, that we would like. So I use more of a blended learning model. So getting creative with YouTube is another way to use it. You may not be aware, but YouTube is not just a site where you can view content. You can actually do a lot more than that. So YouTube have created Capture and Editor. So if I quickly show you Capture. Capture is an app you can download to your smartphone. So if you were going to record anything in your classroom, any content that you want to add to your YouTube channel, you can just press a button and record it. And then it will upload it automatically on to YouTube, which is quite exciting. But also, YouTube has a built-in editor that you might not know about. So if you've got a YouTube channel, you can upload your video. You click on a button that says Editor, and it will take you to a page where you can see here, you can edit your videos. And this is as good, if not better, than Movie Maker. It has all the same features. You can add text, you can use animations, you can fade between content, you can drag stuff onto your timeline, you can add music. YouTube has its own kind of free musical content that you can add to it, so you don't have to worry about licensing of certain songs. It's all on there for you to use. So if you want students creating content, perhaps for YouTube, then this is a great tool to use. It's completely free, that you may not be aware exists. So getting creative with YouTube is a great way to use it. And another great way is to interact. So, YouTube, when you upload a video to YouTube, you have a whole page for it. And underneath that video is a section for comments. And some people see comments as this evil thing. Someone's going to write something and say something. Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's interact with our audience. And another, not only the comments are a way to deal with it, but within YouTube itself and on YouTube videos, you can actually add annotations. And what annotations allow you to do is turn a video into a quiz. So this isn't one of my videos, but I have created videos in the past where I've asked a question and then add annotations at the end to say, well, do you think the answer is this, or this, or this? And depending on which one they click on, it will take them to another video which will have the answer. So Truth or Fail is a really good example of this.
This is Christina Horner, and you're watching the Harry Potter edition of Truth or Fail, YouTube's only game show. Today marks the American release of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and you, like me, are probably ridiculously excited. But how much do you really know about Harry Potter? Well, we're gonna find out. First, I'm gonna tell you 2 facts about Harry Potter. Then you pick the truth, or you will fail! Fact 1. On his audition tape for Harry Potter, Rupert Grint performed a hip-hop song that he wrote to promote himself for the role of Ron Weasley. Or, oddly enough, J.K. Rowling's middle name actually starts with a P.
Okay, so now I've got 30 seconds. If I mouse over them, you can see the annotations on the video. If I click on it, it will take me to another video.
It's really, really sad that this video has never been included in
And
special
I was
features of
correct.
any of the movies.
So
I
it's
mean,
a
seriously,
really good way to create quizzes, really interactive quizzes for your students. And again, once it's there, you've got a record of it. It lives on your YouTube channel. You never have to create that content again, and it could be used by other educators. Okay, so my last one is a bit of a cop-out. It's sort of like number 10, is, to have fun. YouTube is a place, yes, that has videos of cats playing air guitar and whatever else, but it's also a place full of fantastic educational content that is fun and engaging. I said at the beginning I have an award-winning YouTube channel. I make YouTube videos specifically to target teenage girls to take up STEM subjects as part of my Google Certified Teacher Action Plan. And I always try to make these educational, yes, but as fun as possible. And this is a bit of an advert I created just to kind of explain
Hi, my name's Carrie.
what I do.
I like to make stuff. Stuff that lights up. Stuff that prints. Stuff that makes sound. Hello. Stuff that draws patterns. Stuff out of Lego. Stuff using code. Why? Because it's cool and it's really easy. The question is, why aren't you making stuff too? Don't be a bystander in the maker revolution. Get your hands dirty. Well, not really dirty. Electronics isn't really messy, unless you use conductive paint. That's quite messy. Welcome to my Geek Girl Diaries, where I vlog about making stuff. Stuff light up, print, make sound, patterns, out of Lego, code, you remember? If I could have a Geek and Sundry vlog, I'd probably talk about electronics and code, and every few...
So it's not difficult to have a YouTube channel. I can very quickly show you my YouTube channel. Yeah, so here's my YouTube channel. It's Geek Girl Diaries. It has all the video content on it I need. But the other great thing I was talking about, creating playlists. You can create playlists for your students. So I know these are based specifically on what I do with my YouTube channel. But what you could have, let's say you're an English teacher, you could have a playlist that is for everything about Romeo and Juliet. You can add other people's videos to your playlist, or you can create your own content. So you're curating the internet for your students. Maybe you're a science teacher, you're going to have one on, physics, on astrophysics or something. And then you can add these in a really nice way to your YouTube channel. You can add links to other YouTube channels that you find interesting. And on YouTube, and this probably isn't shown very often, there is a link that says education. And that link will take you to so much great educational content that will help you. It's even broken down into sort of primary, secondary, whatever level you want to teach at. Whatever kind of teacher you are, you will find great content on YouTube that's not just cats playing air guitar, I promise. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Sorry it's been quite short. If you want to find out more, or if you want to have access to the videos I've put in this or this presentation, please just connect with me. I'll happily talk to you about what I do. Thanks for listening to me. Have a great day.